recording. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Couple That Scares Together.
Welcome back, guys.
And we are on YouTube. We will be in 8 hours when I put it on YouTube. But we were last week on YouTube, and that was successful. And you can find us two ways. One, you can go to our channel directly, which is The Couple That Scares Together on YouTube, and subscribe. That would be great, even though we don't know what we're doing there. So
yeah,
it's just like,
it's a process.
Yes. Or you can go to our website, thecouplethatscarestogether.com, and there is a link directly there. So my sister is our website
web advisor,
aficionado. She's amazing. And when I say, hey, can you put a YouTube, my YouTube link on there? She's like, yeah, I can. Give me a minute to research
She
it.
does a great job. Like, she is multi-talented.
Uh-huh.
She does an incredible job with our website.
Super humble. Doesn't think she can. Like says, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. She can.
No,
all
that
the time.
website looks like we've been doing this for years, not like 3 months or whatever it's been.
Right. Well, 15 episodes. Today's the
Yeah.
15th
All right, so
episode.
4 months.
Yes. So just a little. What do you want to hear about tonight's episode? Probably should tell you.
Yeah, let's go.
So tonight's episode, we're going to focus on Native American lore, which I love myth and lore when it comes to First Nation people or Native American people, whatever you want to go with.
Native Americans.
I'm a teacher, and I think we're now using
Nobody
First
calls
Nation
them
people.
First Nation. Name one person that you know that calls like Native Americans or Indians or whatever First Nation people, except for you.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to be respectful.
I mean, if you do, that's fine.
I know
I'm
that
not trying
I
to,
know
like,
that
be,
there are some in my reading, in my research. There are some tribal folks around, that prefer Native American or prefer Indian. In fact, there's like if you're Comanche or Apache.
Go right to the source, man.
They like Indian, but whatever. I'm going to call you whatever you want me to call you, so I'm just trying to say that.
Right.
But we're going to talk about lore when it comes to Native American. We've already talked about the Skinwalker, which we love. We did Skinwalker Ranch.
Favorite.
But we're going to talk about the Wendigo tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Thunderbirds.
Scary.
And there's a lot more, because when I was doing some digging, there's a lot more that are really fascinating, but we're going to cover those too. Okay.
All right, let's rock and roll.
And away we go.
And away we go.
And away we go. Oh, before I mention that, away we go, my jacket, if you like my jacket, I like my jacket.
Wait, so there's a visitor here. We have to hang on a second.
We're taping our podcast.
Oh, what's up, dude?
What?
Can I play the Xbox for a little
You
bit?
cannot play your Xbox,
No.
but you may watch TV, or you may do dance, or you may do that, or you can bother Brody. But we're taping.
Yeah.
But Mama,
What? Mom?
Go ahead and play. It's fine.
No, you're not playing the
No.
Xbox, sweetheart.
No, don't.
No, Mommy said no.
said.
Daddy's wrong.
was
Before
wrong.
we mention that, while we deal with our son, if you know this is a real thing.
This
We're
is
real,
real,
we're
yes.
parents.
We are in our bedroom as we speak.
In my alcove, my studio.
Oh, there's
My
our
jacket,
cat.
which
There's
I
our
am
cat
in
in
love
there.
with, is my friend Chris Drum. Started her own mojito boutique online. I'm gonna put a link to it in my Instagram. But great things. She ships all over the United States. I think it's really important that we support small businesses, and hers is a small business, and to support women who are starting their own business. She changed careers during the whole pandemic and the coronavirus. She's amazing, multi-talented, and she changed careers to stay home with her kids. And this is her business. On top of that, they're just really great clothes. She does a good job.
Oh,
So
let me take a... Yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's
this is
just- oh,
exquisite.
no.
This is... Yes.
stop. It's adorable. I have lots of adorable
No, it
things
looks
that I'm going to
good.
wear from her, and I'm going to
Go,
visit
Chris,
her
go.
a lot. So don't tell Jason, but that's what we're going to do. But anyway, I'll
didn't
link
hear
to it
that.
in my Instagram.
Didn't hear
Your
it.
Instagram, Mojito Boutique. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about the Wendigo. We're going to talk about Native American lore. Most of this information is from Legends of America, which is a great website. It's a great resource. I've used them before. You can go visit them and find out more. I love that they have like really not only like evidence-based and database stories that like they've direct sourced, but they also have some really good fiction tales and just stories they've collected from tribes, is what I'm going to say, across the United States and into Canada. So, bear with me. I don't want to edit. I'm going to, I want my notes to present. So I'm going to present. in just a second. Oh, I forget how. My storage.
Let's go here.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. Well, let's talk about the
Pressure's
Wendigo.
on.
The Wendigo was. I'm gonna start with a quote. Okay. So this is from.
Walt
Her name
Whitman.
is Basil Johnston, and she is a tribal teacher and scholar from Ontario, Canada. She says the Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation. I can say it.
Emaciation.
Thank you. I'm not emaciated, but I am
Emaciation.
feeling under the weather.
Gone to the point of emaciation.
Thank you. Its desecrated skin pulled tautly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion was the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into its sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody. Its body was unclean and suffering from
Separation.
Are you reading my notes?
Yes, sorry.
You're not
No.
allowed to. Of the flesh, giving off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decompensation, of death and corruption.
Where am I supposed to? I
You
can't
look
here,
directly
and I
at the
can't look
camera.
there.
Why
No,
can't you look
I'm
at
not
the
supposed to
camera?
because I'm not supposed to do that. It's got.
No, no one said you
Who
didn't
wants
have
to
to.
look at the camera like a zombie?
Okay, well, blink.
Or like a. All right.
Okay, look at it naturally. Oh God. Jason always looks like it's like proof of life. Like he's imprisoned here and he's just like
I have to
using
look at
Morse
it like-
code to blink his
Yeah.
eyes for asking for help. Like I
That's
am
exactly-
stuck here.
like,
My wife won't let me leave.
Come get me, please.
Please, I am in this alcove and she has chained me
I
there.
left some breadcrumbs.
You are not allowed to read over my shoulder
I didn't.
my notes.
There's something there about. All right, go.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead.
Wendigo. Focus up. In the north woods of Minnesota, the forests of the Great Lake region, and the central regions of Canada, it is said to live a malevolent.
I'm
never
not-
can say
I'm not
that
looking
word.
'cause
Well,
I-
you know that word.
Where?
Don't. Being called the Wendigo. It's also spelled with an I.
Malevolent.
I always want to say Maleficent from the Disney
Malevolent.
movie.
It's not. It's bad.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's a bad being.
Listen,
Call it a
whenever
Wendigo.
you hear about these stories
It's
from the
nothing
Wendigo,
good.
they're nothing good. Okay? This creature may appear as a monster with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them become monstrous. It is historically associated with cannibalism, murder, insatiable greed, and cultural taboos against such behaviors.
Insatiable greed.
Yeah. It's
Really?
a gluttonous.
Huh.
Yeah. It explains some of this, they think.
I want the most skulls.
I guess. It's been known by several names. Like I said, the Wendigo, you can spell it with an E or an I. Okay. Witke and Weetigo, like WEE -TEE -go. Now you're off camera because he refuses to look. Each of them roughly translates to the evil spirit that devours mankind. There are also some other translations that when I noticed. Some of them were the creature that travels alone, or the one that has to be alone. Most of it is alone, evil. It's that kind of connotation.
Doing his own thing.
Yes. These legends come from Native American tribes, like and we're gonna reference them a lot. The Ojibwe. Okay. And I looked up how to say it because that's how to say it.
No, that's good. You
Ojibwe?
did. That's
I
great.
did. And I forwarded it out phonetically too, so I want to get it wrong.
Excellent.
And there's another one. Oh, the Algonquin. I know that Algonquin.
They're actually a
because
famous Indian tribe.
they are. When I was in 6th grade, you get to go to Camp Hoshua when my thing, and I stayed in the Algonquin cabin.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Look at the life just going
Full circle.
Full circle for you.
And I was such a woodsy person at the time.
You still are.
My mom packed me up and she had to follow the list, and she did okay, but I wasn't prepared for a week in nature. My poor mother, she was like, I think do you need boots? Can we just go to like
What did she?
Kmart?
Yeah, like she's like, I'm
No.
from New Jersey.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't hike, we don't camp, no.
Right.
But anyway, I lived in I stayed in for a week in the Algonquin cabin.
Okay, first,
Yes, go ask
Part
Brady to
2
help you.
here.
do you know the password?
We don't have the password for the iPad. You can use your green iPad.
But it's dead.
Oh,
It's all right.
okay. Then go give Brody and ask him if you can use that.
He said no.
Well, he's telling Mommy said yes. Mm-hmm.
That was very scary right there. I should have seen his face when he said that. Oh, Birdie said that his face
Birdie
was
said
just
no.
full of anger.
All right. So these two tribes in particular have lots of stories about this creature. Some are described them as giants, many times larger than human beings. Other descriptions can vary somewhat. Always, they're not nice, okay? Cannibalistic, supernatural, so strongly associated with winter, the north, coldness, famine, and starvation. Okay. The Algonquin legend describes the creature as a giant with a heart of ice. Sometimes it is thought to be entirely made of ice. The body is skeletal and deformed with missing lips and toes. I mean, I think toes is very specific.
Toes?
Yeah.
Well, it's because of the cold weather. Like,
right, frostbite.
Frostbite sets in, they lose
I guess, but who's looking at their
lose
toes?
their digits. They wish they had them.
I guess so. It was a large creature as tall as a tree with lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss, his footprints full of blood, and it ate any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory.
They are heinous.
Mm-hmm.
Its
And those
were bloody.
Yeah.
Like, just think about that. Like bloody footprints in the snow. The thing is like as tall as a
Past a human.
pro basketball player,
yeah.
just walking around.
Right. Okay.
With bloody footprints.
And those were the lucky ones. Sometimes the Wendigo chose to possess a person instead of killing them, and then the luckless individual became a Wendigo himself. So there's all this legend of it, like a possession of sorts. Hunting down those he had once loved and feasting upon their flesh.
Oh, the relatives.
Maybe. That sounds like the Skinwalker. According
Yeah.
to the legends, a Wendigo is created whenever a human reports to cannibalism to survive. In the past, this occurred more often when Indians and settlers found themselves stranded in bitter snows and ice in the North Woods. Sometimes stranded for days, any survivors might have felt compelled to cannibalize the dead in order to survive. Other versions of the legend cite that humans who displayed extreme greed, gluttony, and excess might be possessed by a Wendigo. Thus, the myth served as a method of encouraging cooperation and moderation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Native American versions of the creature spoke of a gigantic spirit over 15 feet tall that had once been human but had transformed into a creature by the use of magic. Though all the descriptions of this creature vary slightly, the Wendigo is generally said to have glowing eyes, long yellowed fangs, terrible claws, and overly long tongues. Sometimes they are described as having sallow or yellow skin, other times depicted to be covered with matted hair.
Jaundice and dirty hair.
Yes. The creature is said to have a number of skills and powers, including stealth. It's a near perfect hunter, knows and uses every inch of its territory, and can control the weather through the use of dark magic.
Yeah.
What? Anything?
This is a lot like the Skinwalker, actually.
What about the weather? Didn't that strike you?
I've heard that before.
Okay. You know what it strikes me? I'm not saying this is, but it is.
What, like the wintertime, like avalanches or something?
No. So, if you read any of the Missing 411 books
of
by
course.
Dave
We're gonna go back to
Fleiss,
this, like, you get back over this
I am
every
circling
week.
around because we're going to do an episode on this. It's a lot to take on because he has a lot of books and it's a lot to take on. But he always mentions in the books,
Right.
there's a set of criteria.
You mention this to me at least once a week
At least
about the
once a
weather.
week I say
That-
it.
I
About the
should've-
weather?
No, I should have known that you
Not
were
the
going to go.
weather.
No, but you always say,
Yeah.
Dave Kaulides always mentions that the weather.
There's always a weather event shortly after or when search parties begin to look for somebody who's gone missing. I'm not saying it's a Wendigo.
The
Just saying.
Skinwalker, though, is like very similar too. Like
I guess
the
so.
weather as well.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
I don't
let's
remember
rock
that
and roll.
in particular.
Maybe I made it. I don't know.
I think you made it up.
Maybe
They're
you're
also
confusing it.
appear that they are at the same time like ravenous but emaciated from starvation. Wendigos are said to be cursed to wander the land, internally seeking to fulfill their ferocious appetite for human flesh. And if it has nothing left to eat, it starves to death. The legend lends its name to a disputed medical term, which is called Wendigo psychosis, which is considered by psychologists to be a syndrome that creates an intense craving for human flesh and the fear of becoming a cannibal. Like, that's a real thing.
A fear of becoming a cannibal?
Well, they know that they have this compulsion to eat human flesh,
To
but they
eat
don't
human
want
flesh.
to. But people still have, like, I guess, a moral
This
compass.
is a real thing.
That is a real
right now, there's people
diagnosis.
sitting around in their living rooms or
I don't
something,
know
like
that.
in front of their computer, and they're like, man, you know, should I do it? Should I not do it? Like,
Have you ever heard?
there's a
Did you ever watch?
compulsion to eat
Did you
human
ever
flesh.
watch the documentary about the cannibal policeman?
No.
This is a true story. He never did anything. This is a true story. He blogged at the time. There was only blogs on the internet, and he was in chat rooms and blogs about consuming human flesh and his need and everything else. They convicted him without him even doing anything because he had,
He's a danger.
Right.
People are fearful. They want to put him away.
right. But he didn't.
I'm not
actually
saying
do
that's
anything.
right.
I'm just saying
I'm
he
saying
didn't
that-
actually do anything. But he was.
Yeah, but it's
this
weird.
strikes a tune to it because he
Yeah.
had a moral compass that he didn't act on.
Maybe he's
it.
a Wendigo.
Maybe he had Wendigo psychosis.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did.
Oh,
All right.
there it is in print. Wendigo psychosis.
I just
It
said
creates
that.
they see
He's
others
reading
around
my
them.
notes.
Them
Stop reading
a-
my notes.
Them
Stop-
an edible
oh.
being. At
Yes.
the same time, they have an exaggerated fear of becoming cannibals.
Yes, I just said
The
that.
most common response
Mhm.
when a person should. You can go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
hate you. All right. They say that this is specifically worrisome in people that experience this around the Great Lakes of Canada.
It is worrisome if you're like walking around,
Just
talking
thinking
to
about eating
people,
people.
going to your job 40 hours a week, like
Can I
you
tell
are
you-
in
well, can I
society,
tell you the
and
con-
yet you have these
Yes.
feelings that you might want to eat somebody instead of eating a hamburger.
Okay, well, it usually develops in the winter in individuals who are isolated by heavy snow for long
I
periods.
could have told you that without even researching this.
Okay.
Stay away from certain states, like
Alaska.
exactly.
Oh, no,
I
unless
didn't
you
wanna
listen to
say
me
it,
in
but-
Alaska.
Listen, if you're in Anchorage right now and you love the show, you keep on loving the
Listen.
show, but
If all you have is listening to us, you don't consume human flesh.
right, then keep listening.
Then keep listening. The initial symptoms are poor appetite, nausea, and vomiting. Okay. I think now I'm becoming a Wendigo.
No, stop. That's
Then
not true.
the individual develops a delusion of being transformed into a Wendigo monster. People who have Wendigo psychosis increasingly see others around them as being edible. At the same time, they have an exaggerated fear of becoming a cannibal. The most common response when a person shows signs of a Wendigo psychosis was an attempt by traditional native healers. So that's what I guess their go-to. In cases
How
of
do you
the,
treat this?
okay,
If
well,
you
in
don't
cases
mind?
of the past, these attempts failed. And if the possessed person began to threaten those around them or act violently, they were executed. This was back in
Yeah.
the day. Okay,
No, hey,
they have been. They tried.
We're done with this.
Yes,
We're
and
going
then
to
you're
just put
out.
an end to this.
Then you're out. Hold on. Okay, we're going. We're rolling. I just thought we stopped.
Are we still recording?
We're still recording. All right. So yeah, that was back in the day. There's reports regarding the psychosis dating
was-
back hundreds of years.
Look at
Stuff,
that.
Reddit notifications, no bigs. All right. A 1661 Jesuit relations document stated, just like a mention of it. Ready?
Okay.
What caused
Sounds fancy.
us greater concern was the intelligence that met us upon entering the lake, namely that men disputed by our conductor for the purpose of summoning nations to the North Sea and assigning them a rendezvous where they were awaiting our coming. And that
What?
they had met their death the previous winter in a very strange manner. This is an old text. These poor men, according to the report given to us, were seized with an ailment unknown to us, but very unusual among the people we were seeking. They were afflicted with neither lunacy or hypochondria nor frenzy, but have a combination of all of these species of disease, which affects their imaginations and causes them more than canine hunger.
Because
This
there's a lot
ma-
of hungry dogs.
Yeah, this makes them so ravenous for human flesh that they pounce upon women, children, and even upon men. Oh my. That were
It's
like
terrible.
werewolves
Poor kids and men.
and men, and then devour them voraciously, without being able to appease or guilt their appetite. So that is just one sort of document that they found that they've, don't read all of it.
Oh,
I'm summarizing.
I almost jumped ahead to something here about the Hudson's Bay Company, which is,
well, that's
yeah.
next. But there are all of these different
Spoiler
sort of
alert,
indications.
Hudson's Bay Company is coming up.
Thanks. Okay. Another documented case occurred in 1878 when a Plains Cree trapper from Alberta named Swift Runner suffered one of the worst cases known. Swift Runner was a trader with the Hudson Bay Company who was married and the father of 6 children. In 1875, he served as a guide for the Northwest Mounted Police.
I've heard of this before on TV.
Good.
It is. All right, so.
During the winter of 1878 and 79, Swift Runner and his family were starving, along with numerous other Cree families. His oldest son was the first to die of starvation, and at some point, Swift Runner succumbed to Wendigo psychosis. Though emergency food supplies were available at the Hudson Bay Company post some 25 miles away, he did not attempt to travel there. Rather, he killed the remaining members of his family and consumed them. Mm-hmm. He eventually confessed and was executed by authorities at Fort Saskatchewan.
We've actually mentioned him once before on our podcast, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Or maybe I read about him in a book. I can't remember. It's one of the two.
Remember that recent movie that you hated? Sounds like it.
Maybe it was that. Well, no, there was. I've read about him and I've seen his story featured on some paranormal TV show of some kind.
Okay. A Wendigo allegedly made a number of appearances near a town called Rushina in northern Minnesota, if I didn't pronounce it right, whatever, from the late 1800s through the 1920s. Each time it was reported, an unexpected death followed, and finally it was seen no more. Another well-known case involving a Wendigo psychosis was that of Jack Fiddler, an OG Cree chief and a medicine man known for his powers at defeating Wendigos.
Oh.
Fiddler claimed to have defeated 14 Wendigo during his lifetime. Some of these creatures were said to have been sent by enemy shamans, and other were members of his own band who had been taken with the insatiable, incurable disease to eat human flesh. In the latter case, Fiddler was usually asked by family members to kill a very sick loved ones before they turned Wendigo. Ugh. Fiddler's own brother, Peter Felt, was killed after turning Wendigo when the food ran out at his trading expedition. Hudson Bay Company traders, the Cree, and the missionaries were well aware of the Wendigo legend, though they often explained it as mental illness or superstition.
So if we could just pause here for one instant.
Sure.
It seems like a lot of these cases are like way up north in Canada, Minnesota.
Cold.
Yeah.
Isolated.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So if I stay away from rural, cold, isolated places, I maybe won't be affected by the Wendigo.
Hello, Florida.
Wait do I get to a story
Hello,
that's
Sunbelt.
scary that I found on Reddit? I mean, I don't necessarily believe
What's it about?
It's
Which
bad.
state?
You'll find out. All right. Regardless, several incidents of the people turning Wendigo and eating human flesh are documented in the records of this company. In 1907, Fiddler and his brother Joseph were arrested by Canadian authorities for murder. Jack committed suicide, but Joseph was tried and sentenced to life in prison. He ultimately was granted a pardon, but died 3 days later in jail before receiving the news of his pardon.
How convenient.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the Ojibwe have a ceremonial dance that's performed during times of famine to reinforce the seriousness of the Wendigo taboo, because they're like, we're not down with this.
No, not at all. They are anti-Wendigo.
Yes. The frequency...
Wendigo with a
crop.
Ghostbusters,
No.
Wendigo, non-Wendigo.
Don't eat your kids, people.
Un-Wendigo.
Yes. The frequency of the Wendigo psychosis cases decreased sharply in the 20th century as the Native Americans came in greater and greater contact with Western ideologies. That makes sense. However, Wendigo creature sightings are still reported, especially in northern Ontario, near the Cave of the Wendigo, and around the town of Kenora, where it has allegedly been spotted by traders, trackers, and trappers for decades. There are many who still believe that the Wendigo roams the woods and the prairies of northern Minnesota and Canada. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Sightings of the creature in this area have continued well into this new millennium. The good news is that the story describing ways to kill a Wendigo. The bad news is you're going to need a lot of silver. There we go. The chief weakness of a Wendigo traditionally is its heart. The beast reportedly has a ticker made out of solid ice, which probably is harder than you think to make it, to kill. Apparently you have to shoot him in the heart, kill him in the heart, smash his heart in some sort of fashion, burn him. It seems extensive.
It's a lot of work.
Right. If you can get at the creature's heart with a silver blade or a stake or a bullet, then you shatter it. You have to shatter the heart.
Bring a stepladder, because remember, these are like tall dudes.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to get...
I don't think you're
I'm
gonna.
6 feet tall, so how am I going to get up to his heart, to get up to his chest?
Right.
I got to reach up, and if he's like 15 feet tall, like, that's not going to happen.
Well, I don't have to worry so much about it because I don't even...
You're doomed.
Well, no.
Like,
oh, no. I don't have to run fast or anything. I just have to run faster than you.
I'll probably trip, and that's it.
That's it.
He'll eat me.
Well, of course you'll sacrifice yourself for us.
right.
Daddy,
For the children.
You're such a good husband. You just lay your... Of
Just
course,
that
you
he
wouldn't
can have my leg. Just run.
No, I don't have to. I'm not fighting anything. I'm running. Apparently, once you shatter the heart, then you put the shattered heart in bits in a silver box, lock the box, bury the box in a graveyard.
There again.
And then just maybe the Wendigo dies.
Like if you're trying
you got
to
all
escape,
this stuff.
I mean, that just seems like a lot.
Or,
like an awful lot to get rid of one Wendigo when there's more out there.
I guess. But remember, they're solitary, so they're probably not in trap packs. Also, you can dismember and cremate and then scatter the ashes in several directions. So I'm just telling you.
Now you know.
Yes. And so you can find you can find encounters dating back to the 1600s. French missionaries wrote about it when they were going through, and when they were traveling through Quebec and Montreal.
Lewis and Clark, maybe? Sacagawea was writing about it when she was in the
she's
canoe
she's the original working mother.
Across the country.
I just love her.
I just love how you complain about things around here. And she had a baby when she was like on the road with Lewis and Clark in a canoe.
4.
Just saying.
And they're always
like,
around me.
Like you were throwing a fit.
I am a modern woman, but I also am in the guides of Sacagawea. I embody her spirit. What?
We didn't mention this today, but let me tell everybody what happened this weekend and why our podcast was put off by just a few hours.
A series of unfortunate accidents.
We do the podcast on Saturday evenings.
Right.
And here we are. It's now Sunday evening.
Correct.
Reason being is because we had a...
Reason being is this.
You just cut me off.
I did, because
go ahead.
I need to tell the real story. So
we should always... tell the real story after
fine.
You tell the...
We should always go dark this week, because this is my back to school week. So I am trying to be the world's best teacher in the whole world, at the same time taking care of children or at home, because their school is in various sort of educational disarray. So I'm trying to do all of this, and it's exhausting anyway. All these things happen, and then Saturday, our fridge quits. I wake up to a freezer that's defrosted, all this food I have to throw away. This morning, I had to put things in our, we have a tiny fridge. I've had to order a new fridge. It won't be here till Wednesday. I know no one cares.
God bless you, Amazon, by the way.
Yes. To me, it's been a traumatic weekend.
You're a superhero.
I'm a superhero, but I'm not. Even superheroes need to hang up their cape and go to bed at 8:30. I just was done. So that's...
I just want,
Okay. All right.
Just putting it
Let
out
me
there
just tell
so
you,
people know.
when we have our podcast delayed, typically it's because Jason's drank too much during it, and
That's
he can't.
not true.
Mine is I'm overrun by children and responsibilities, and need to lie down. It's just like night and day. But sure, I'll take this one. It was me.
No, it's not you. It was our fridge had a meltdown, and it's now. I mean, it was had a good run, like 10 plus years, but it's its struggle has ended. It's over.
Yes, absolutely. So this Wendigo psychosis, just to get back to that, sometimes it's been known as Wendigo fever. It's a real documented mental illness, okay? Though some people think that the condition itself is completely fabricated, that people are just influenced by cultural taboos and trying to avoid that and whatever. So there you go.
Such as cannibalism.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes in certain parts of Canada and North America, probably the rural parts, they use the word Wendigo as kind of a catch-all term for mental illness.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, like they would be like,
oh, she's got
Wendigo.
She's
or
got
it's the Wendigo.
Lady with all the cats has the Wendigo.
Maybe. Right. So while I was doing some of this research, and I'm going to share with you some encounters that I found on Reddit, which are kind of scary. But I came across this website, and I just want to tell you about it. And because I'm going to click on it so we can go there. Hopefully I am. It's I was reading the way. Oh, I hear it. I have it pinned. Okay.
That looks like a cross between a deer.
Okay. Well,
and like
the
a
picture.
Bear, and it's lacking a chest.
Yes.
Its ribs are exposed.
Sure.
It looks like it could. It's huge.
Right.
Like basketball players.
Right.
Massive arms. Like.
Okay. Yeah.
A new bull.
So I came across this website, and it's called Where the Wendigo Roams, and it's a story map by, and I'm gonna these kids. Well, they're probably not kids anymore, but they are students of William and Mary Center for Geospatial Analysis.
That's a university.
I know what it is.
College.
I think they must have done this for a school project. But
perfect.
Your website is kind of awesome. I don't even know if it has any legitimacy.
No, it has. You don't know that it has.
I think you guys took a cute, like a legend, and you just made it data based and some sort of fashion. But it's worth checking out because it's kind of cool. So if you look up Where the Wendigo Roams, it's a story map developed by Cullen Rombach, Grace Kimsley, Kendall King, and Zach Sauter. You guys did a good job. So they have kind of a background on the Wendigo. Wait, I'll show you all the stuff they have. Right? It's very interactive, their website. I'm just like, I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And then they have what a possession might entail. Here we go
with like the little. It's the antlers on that guy.
Like it's the possession, the incubation, and then how possession would take over, and then it would fully form into some sort of spirit.
Incipient possession or incubation.
Yeah.
Human consciousness is still
right.
present, but Wendigo entity is beginning to exist to exert influence over the host.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on
right.
and on. It's very
symptoms
detailed.
might be fever, intense hunger, paranoia, irritability, feelings of extreme cold and freezing, and other. At any point in time, I have all of those. I just want you to know, I'm cold all the time.
Well,
I'm cold all the time.
Right here's
my little jacket,
what's
my
this
bomber
called?
jacket. It's a bomber jacket.
Bomber jacket, excuse me.
I'm cold all the time. But watch, I'm gonna just flip through. They have the purpose of this research.
Oh, a site
They focused their research on New York State, and they did these like geospatial markers on like what the Wendigo would need to live and what would be like how it could be sustained in that population or out of it. Look what they've done. They've done
what is it eating?
Other people, I guess.
People?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess it
but
is.
they like said based on the distance from Native American reservations, percentage of canopy cover, distance of I don't know how to say that word. Karst feature.
Yeah, I guess.
Those are like
sure
caves. I know what they are. They're like caves, lakes, like topographic information.
Topographic.
Okay. Temperature, crime rate, and poverty.
Crime rate.
Yeah, well, if they could hide amongst an increased crime rate, you would find
I guess you could. Like, hey, listen.
Of Wendigo.
Murders happen. What are you gonna do?
I just want to shout out this website because they have a data.
That's really interesting.
They've done a sustainability model.
This is a good find.
It is. It's kind of cool. As I was going through, I'm like, I don't even know what to say. You guys put a lot of work in that.
Native American reservations.
And like how it would.
Oh, there's a little Wendigo there. It
okay.
almost looks like one.
I don't think it's supposed to
they
be.
can't see it. We should probably stop talking.
Go look at it.
My mistake.
But they even have like temperature, how that would
Check it out. It's very interesting.
Yes, and they detail that. So if you did this for a school project or whatever.
Oh, there's Syracuse is
yes.
there, Rochester, Albany, etc.
Yeah, so if you did this for a school project or something like that, you guys did a great job. I think it was really cool.
No,
so Where the
awesome.
Wendigo Roams, check it out. It's kind of a good
That's
read.
a good find.
Yeah.
Nice job, Nicole.
So now we're going to talk about some encounters with the Wendigo. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Don't read it over my shoulder.
No, I promise not to.
Okay. All right. This is from Reddit. So grain of salt. I'm not sure if this is the right place to post, but I'm scared shitless. After hearing stories and looking up stuff online, I'm fairly sure it was a Wendigo. Me, my son, and my girlfriend were attacked by something. We were camping up in the northernmost area of Washington. My girlfriend is incredibly superstitious, so she insisted we bring weapons. I don't think that's superstitious. So
Washington is
Bigfoot
company in Washington.
Just people. People.
What do you mean people?
I'm not superstitious. I think you should have weapons.
Washington is in the state of Washington?
Yeah. No, I just
Bigfoot.
think... Okay. But I don't think it's superstitious to bring weapons if you go out into the wilderness. Or go away from... You know what I mean? I don't think so.
Yeah, I got you.
So I had my combat knife, a 12-gauge shotgun, and she brought a .22 rifle alongside a newly sharpened machete. Our son was just 3 years old at the time. She and I were set on edge from the park ranger, who seemed very tense and uneasy.
Probably because she brought all the weapons.
Maybe. Who stopped us, instead of confiscating our weapons, told us to be careful and stay safe. Then he sent us along our way to the camp. When we got there, we were informed by several visitors who had spoken, that we had spoken about, that they had heard unnatural noises and a pale creature that would mimic voices and sounds of people who weren't talking or seemed to be distracted. I laughed and put the idea out of my mind and thinking to myself, there's no way they're fucking with us, but I knew better. So when we reached the area, we were going to set up camp. We immediately got a fire ready to light and set up our tent and bags. I fed my son as my girlfriend and I ate a snack, and we decided to get a lay of the area. So me and my girlfriend hiked around for about an hour or so. I had one of those baby carrying backpacks, and my son started to get really heavy. We know that.
Yeah,
they do.
I do that all the time.
Yes.
Well, I used to, but Bo's a little bit heavy now.
I know, but yeah. Well, yeah, and this kid was 3, so a little heavier.
Yeah.
Everything seemed normal until I saw something down the path we were on, and we walked closer to investigate and saw drag marks. It looked as if someone had killed a buck. There was a whole outline in the dirt with a small dried pool of blood, as if someone grabbed it from the antlers and pulled. That wouldn't be possible for any man to do. The buck, or whatever it would have been way too big for that. Shaken, we rushed back to the base camp and restarted the fire and hurried back into our tent.
That's not true. It wouldn't be too heavy to drag.
That's what somebody else on Reddit said.
Yeah, that's entirely not true.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm just saying.
This is just a scary story. Too afraid to leave, since it was
his
dusk
account.
by now, we stayed inside the tent and my girlfriend put our son to bed. Eventually, probably from exhaustion of fright, we fell asleep. It must have been hours. Later, I awoke to a faint, rasping sound that sounded like a child crying. I gazed outside in confusion and saw the outline of a creature that looked to be a buck standing over something. It seemed to be about 20 feet away. But at a closer glance, it had unnaturally long limbs for a buck and was eerily tall. In a sudden fear, I unloaded 2 shots into the creature and heard a loud, blood-curdling cry. My girlfriend awoke screaming to the shots I had fired as I tried to explain what I had heard. To my surprise, the animal hadn't moved an inch. Then I noticed the stains on the side of the animal, and it looked like blood was running down the edge, and lots of it. It stared at me deep into my eyes, and I became petrified with fear. A sinister feeling of dread fell over me as I knew I couldn't move. I thought to myself, what if it starts to bolt towards us? Just then, this tall, decrepit, demonic thing seemed to whisper something. I couldn't exactly tell you what it was saying, but it seemed to have said, I need more children. My girlfriend screamed, asking where our son was. We blacked out. In the morning, we awoke to park rangers at our campsite. We didn't see our son anywhere. We told the rangers that he was missing, and they started a search party. I explained what had happened, and strangely, they seemed to believe it. The one who seemed to be older by at least a decade pulled along the other one we had met earlier and whispered in his ear. I only heard a single line, and I'm not even sure if I heard it correctly. It sounded like he said, it's getting bolder. They didn't seem to want us by ourselves, so they waited with us while we continued to search. We stayed in the cabin for 3 days with the forest ranger, when suddenly some rangers came into the cabin saying they couldn't find our son. My girlfriend starts to sob. I start to hate myself for even thinking that I could have done something if I wasn't frozen in fear. We rushed outside only to find some injured and frightened police officials. The ranger wouldn't tell us anything of what happened or what they saw, or why the cops were scared shitless. All we know is that we didn't have our son anymore. God help whoever goes into the forest next, and please don't bring your kids with you.
I'm not really feeling that story.
I mean,
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why what.
But, like, first of all, I mean, if it... The guy's
It's just the
first
good story.
instinct... I know, but the first instinct...
I mean, not for the kid. I mean,
No.
Sorry, I
Like-
did cry.
Like,
I want
the
you to
first instinct... Well, that's the...
That's the intent.
The first instinct is to go and like grab your shotgun or rifle or whatever and squeeze off 2 shots in the dark.
Oh, you don't think so? By the fire? I think that would be
I
somebody's
mean,
first
that's your
instinct.
first. I don't.
I don't know either.
Yeah, no, that seems like too far. I mean, listen, that's a person's account, but
Lots of people say.
I find it highly skeptical.
I do. You know what? Also, lots of people say
It
that.
seems like a story that you wrote to scare people.
Right. Well, Reddit is kind of the place that does that. It reminds me, and you don't watch it, but I bet people out there watch it, is the show Supernatural. I love that show. I love it. I love it. I love that
I've seen
show.
a couple episodes.
And they've had a couple Wendigo episodes and that sound like that.
They have everything
They
like
have
under the sun on that
everything.
show.
They have everything.
From like vampires to like
Skinwalkers
zombies to Bigfoot to
right?
whatever. To
Absolutely.
witches and angels.
Absolutely.
devils,
Archons
etc.
and gods and all kinds of stuff in between. It's a great show, but they have a good couple of Wendigo episodes. So, I don't know. I think if we stay away from rural, isolated, cold places, we're going to be okay. Right?
Just stay warm.
Stay warm. All right. You want to talk about the Thunderbird? So
Yeah, let's do it.
let me just pause the segment because we don't want to lose it. And then, because that was a long segment. And then we'll talk about the Thunderbird.
The car.
Yes. How'd you know?
I knew it.
Okay.
The T-Bird is known.
Oh my God, you're too much. All right. We're going to let this upload.
Is it uploading as we speak?
I mean, this is something
oh.
else. They're blending, but I'll separate them after.
That's the hat.
Post-production, which is
Right,
there's nothing.
No,
The
it's very
takes
fancy.
15 minutes of me moving things around. Post-production. That's funny. All right, here we go. The Thunderbird is a widespread figure in Native American mythology in the United States and Canada. It's a mythological bird described as being supernatural. It's an enormous bird and was a symbol of power and strength that protected humans from evil spirits. It was called the Thunderbird because of the flapping of its powerful wings that sounded like thunder and lightning, and lightning that would shoot out of its eyes. The Thunderbirds brought rain and storms, which could be good or bad. Good when the rain was needed, or bad when the rain came with destructive winds and floods and fires caused by lightning.
Sure.
The bird was said to be so large that several legends tell it picking up a whole whale in its talons. They were said to have bright and beautiful feathers, sharp teeth, and claws. They were said to live in the clouds high above the tallest mountains.
Pudgy the Whale?
No. Various tribes.
Remember in The Office?
Yes.
With
Yes.
Pudgy the Whale cake?
Yes, for his birthday.
Andy?
Mm-hmm. Various tribes have different oral traditions about the magical Thunderbird, which they both highly respected and feared. Okay?
Yep.
All right. The Thunderbird who gave the sacred pipe to the people in some plain tribes is associated with the Arapaho, have it associated with summer season, while the white owl represented the winter season. In Algonquin mythology, the Thunderbird,
Nice.
I love Algonquin, my
Nice.
cabin, controls the upper world, while the underworld is controlled by the panther or the great horned serpent, from which the Thunderbird protects humans by throwing lightning at it. According to the legend, the Thunderbirds were ancestors of the human race and helped to create the universe. All right. There's the story that tells of great mountains floating in the sky, of which the Thunderbirds would live, and they can control the rain. So a lot of different specific tribes have individual stories
There's a lot
and
here about
legends.
the weather, too.
A lot to hear about the weather.
Dave, what's his name? What's his last
Dave
name?
Politis.
Yeah,
Who
I'll
never
forget
says
his last name.
who never says anything about it being
The weather.
a Wendigo or a Thunderbird or anything else. They stayed until fall, when the most dangerous season for the underwater spirits had passed, at which time they migrated south with other birds.
Like every other bird, they go south for the winter.
They also believed that the Thunderbird had great power to grant people great abilities. The Thunderbird of the Sioux people was a noble creature that protected humans from dangerous reptilian monsters. The reptile
The reptilians
people.
are everywhere.
Some believe that they were shapeshifters who would change their appearance to interact with people.
The reptilians are everywhere.
They are reptile people everywhere.
Bill and Henry.
Yes. Oh, the Shawnee tribe. They appeared.
Who said that?
Who you did? The Shawnee tribe. They appeared as boys and could be identified by their tendency to speak backward. That's weird.
That's really scary.
Yes. In some tribes, thunderbirds were considered extremely sacred forces of nature, while others, they were treated like powerful but otherwise ordinary members of the animal kingdom. Many references, legend references the anger of the thunderbirds as something fearsome to behold, which they could result in harsh punishments. And in one story, an entire village was turned to stone for their wrongdoings.
I wonder what they did.
I don't know.
Something
Debauchery.
bad, obviously.
Some say that the mythology behind the ancient mound builders throughout history, thunderbirds were the symbol.
Mound building again.
Was a symbol that appeared on totem poles, pottery, mastoid carvings. All right, want to talk about some encounters with a thunderbird?
Yes.
All right.
Big burns.
Yes, the most celebrated thunderbird encounter took place in 1890 on the desert sands of what was then.
Let me guess. Don't tell me.
No. What?
New Mexico.
Arizona.
Oh, that's my second guess.
Okay. The Arizona Territory. Two cowboys had a bizarre confrontation, which was varied widely in telling. But the gist of the story is that they saw a giant flying bird, shot and killed it with their rifles, and carried its carcass into town. A report in the April 26, 1890 tombstone listed the creature's wingspan as an alarming 160 feet. Wow. And noted that the bird was 92 feet long and about 50 inches around at the middle and had a head about 8 feet long.
50 inches around?
Oh my God, yeah, that's what it says.
Wait, it was 92 feet long.
92 feet long. Well,
inches
it's tiny,
around?
it's a bird. And yes,
skinny bird.
And had a head about 8 feet long. The beast was said to have no feathers, but a smooth skin and wing flaps, composed of a thick and nearly transparent membrane.
No feathers.
Oh, it sounds like a dinosaur.
Like a bat almost.
It sounds like a
skin.
No, but with a flying dinosaur.
Pterodactyl.
Yes. It said it was nearly transparent membrane was easily penetrated by a bullet. Perhaps the hardest part of the story to swallow is that two horses could manage to haul this big old thing the distance.
What'd they do with it? Eat it?
I don't know. Sounds like a typical tall tale for the Wild West, and that's probably what it is. But apparently it does contain a kernel of truth. In 1970, Harry McClure claimed that as a boy he knew two cowboys from the story later in their lives, and that he told him a different version of the events. McClure said the giant birds saw them in the desert actually had a wingspan of more like 20 to 30 feet, much more reasonable than 160, but still enormous. Gotcha. The two riders shot at the creature, but it was out of range. They spooked their horses. Their spooked horses refused to chase it, so the men rode into town empty-handed, carrying only news of the one that got away. The Tombstone newspaper printed its highly overdone version of the cowboy sighting, which sparred from fading into obscurity by its inclusion in a 1930s book, The Old West. In 1963, the story came to the attention of writer Jack Pearl, who revived the tale in an article for a men's adventure magazine called Saga. So there you go. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they spiced up the facts.
John Keel writes a lot about thunderbirds in his book.
Well, and also, what's her name that does Monsters Among Us?
Let me think. Wow, man, I can't remember the name of it.
She's Linda.
I can't. I can't recall her book. Monsters Among Us will
yes. Yeah, but she does.
To be continued.
Yeah, she refers to Thunderbird. She has chapters in it. So Pearl, the author, embellished the encounter, but made it kind of dramatic, and he called it Monster Bird that carries off human beings. Also, what does it remind you of?
Pterodactyls?
No, your son's favorite movie.
What are you talking about?
Teddy's favorite movie is Jeepers Creepers.
Oh,
in
when
that
he
story,
carries
a
off
winged
people?
monster carries off people. Don't write us and tell us it's terrible for a 4-year-old to watch that. We are well aware of that. We know. We pick our battles. We're done.
Dude, it's fine.
I don't know. But he loves
No
that
one's gonna
movie.
complain
And he
about
also loves to scare his brother and sister with it. So he's a special little dude. As long as he's not scared.
I don't know, the theme song to the movie?
Jeepers,
Yes.
creepers. He goes into his brother who's 12.
We should go get him and just put him
No.
on so he could just
Oh my
sing it.
God. No,
so
he's not on
funny.
camera. We're not
I
doing
know,
that.
but it'd be hysterical.
He will go into his brother's like around the corner and sing, "Hey Brody, jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers?" And Brody almost pees his pants.
Yeah, and he's 12.
And then Brody will yell, "Go, Mom, you have to make him stop."
Bro, he's scaring me.
I know.
Make him. I love when they're in the back of the car and he sings in the back of the car. You're in the back of the car.
You're safe
There's
in the
people
car.
all around you.
It's the middle of
broad
the day.
daylight, and you're scared because he's singing, and he's 4 years old, and he's singing in your ear, and you're like, give me a break.
It's all he has. He's so tiny. He
I'm
has to use his
scared.
wit to
Yeah, a rapist wit.
he has to use that to protect himself from the older siblings.
Dumber.
He's so funny.
He's hysterical. All right.
Anyway, so it reminds me of Jeepers Creepers.
Yes,
but
when
I'm
they get
just
carried
saying.
away by the bird.
Mm-hmm. By a monster, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever.
So Pearl also added some extra conflict by telling of how a second Thunderbird snatched up a heckler who had ridiculed the prospectors and flew away with him in his talons.
How dare you bastard!
Well, you make fun of it. You mess with the horns.
His talons.
You mess with the bull.
Get
you get
the
the
talons.
horns. Get the talons. But Pearl's most significant addition was said that he had a photograph of this giant bird's carcass nailed up to the wall with its mighty wingspan unfurled, and then a number of men posing beside it for scale.
Oh God, I wish we had that.
The part of the legend of the Thunderbird photo has taken a life of its own. Pearl's fictional account of the photograph of the Old West settlers was a big dead bird was picked up and repeated time and time again, multiplying and evolving just as it had before Pearl ever got a hold of it. In time, people who had heard the story began to believe that they had previously seen the photo with their own eyes. Somehow, people felt convinced that they had once marveled at the strange picture in some old book or newspaper, often noting that they didn't realize the significance of the photo at the time and regretting that they had not kept it. So people carried on saying, "I in fact saw that photo." But it doesn't exist.
But it was lost.
Right. The details might differ from one recollection to another, and some recalling the bird had feathers, others saying it was more like a pterodactyl, some thinking the bird was nailed to a wall, others remembering it being held with its wings outstretched by a large group of men.
It was conveniently
But
lost.
no matter what the specifics, each person felt and feels certain that their memory is true. Many have reported that they've seen the Thunderbird photo in Fate, a National Geographic, and Grit, a similar publication, that they've actually seen this photo.
Grit sounds like it could be pornographic in
It's
nature.
not. The experts in the cryptozoology field are no less susceptible to the Thunderbird recollections. You ready for this?
No, you nailed it. Recollections.
Yes. So, commonly, including John Keel, among those who have claimed to
Bingo.
have once held the photo in their hands.
Yes, my man, John Keel. I wish he was alive.
Some accounts of seeing the photo are amazingly precise and hard to disregard. It's difficult to tell someone that their experience was as vivid as they think they remember it to be never really happened. But what is the alternative? What's the word with the Thunderbird? We don't know.
Listen, for those who have not read his books, if you love this program and you love just, paranormal stuff, which obviously you do if you're listening to us.
I hope.
Please.
Just find us funny.
Yeah, or you're like, I have
Whatever.
nothing else to do.
Right.
So what
These
the
two.
hell? Check out this guy, John Keel. He passed away, but his books, I'm telling you guys, they are awesome.
They
I
are
love
awesome,
them. I
yeah.
love them.
The best explanation for the phantom photo phenomenon is that these memories are of things that are never existed, or simply be that people have read descriptions of these cowboys and this giant bird that were so colorful and so that they painted a scene in their heads so vividly that they believe that remember it correctly.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, just imagine that these things are real. Like these giant birds would swoop out of the sky and grab you. Like you're, walking down the street, walking the dog, what have you, and this humongous bird swoops down, picks you up,
Right.
and you're gone.
Well, have you ever seen the video of the bird that eats the rat in New York? It was going around on social media.
That. No, I missed that one, unfortunately.
It's a big rat, and this bird just like swallows it whole, like a I don't know, like a New York bird, like a tough ass bird. I don't know, but like
a New York bird.
I don't know if birds were the size.
Raptor.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what it was. A pigeon for all I know. If a bird, I don't know. Google it. I don't know, but if birds were tall enough, or 100% they would eat us. They would give a shit.
Of course they would.
100%. That's what's so frightening.
That's what birds do.
They would just swallow us whole. That's what makes it terrifying.
Birds,
they don't give a shit about people.
Like,
they would just eat you.
Yeah.
That's what's so terrifying. All right.
Pigeons care about us because we feed them.
If they could physically eat me or my funnel cake, they would eat me.
Of course they would.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
funnel cake.
I love funnel cake.
My funnel cake.
We haven't had one of those for a long time.
No, but I'm never going to eat funnel cake again. That's not why we have it. I'm not eating carbohydrates.
Okay, I haven't because we haven't been anywhere to get a funnel cake.
Because we haven't gone to a carnival. That's where we used to go.
Yeah,
or the beach, on the boardwalk where you have to fight it from the birds.
Oh, the pigeons love.
Pigeons. The seagulls. The seagulls at the
boardwalk
beach.
Fries. They like those.
The rashers, if you're from Maryland.
They like
pizza.
Funnel cakes, obviously.
Boardwalk pizza.
What else do they eat?
Where the grease drips down your
Peanuts
head.
or something?
I don't know. They don't eat anything.
Just whatever.
Yeah. I once had a seagull take my ice cream cone right off my thing.
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. I mean, I was there as a child.
It stole your ice cream?
Yeah, it stole my ice cream. Oh, the seagulls
How
are the
did you
worst.
allow
I was a
seagull
child.
to get your ice?
And you know what the worst of it was?
What, you got yelled at by your mother?
No.
For allowing it
had
to
to buy me another one.
How much was it?
I don't know. Enough that my uncle...
What did you tell him? Or
he
did
saw
you see it happen?
My uncle's like, probably like, God damn it. Now I have to buy her another $5 ice cream cone. And
did he leave the cone?
If he could have jumped on that bird and pressed it, my uncle would have, because he doesn't want to miss out on a deal.
Did he leave the cone, or did he take
it's just ice cream with an empty cone.
Which flavor was it?
I don't remember.
I hope it was chocolate, because it's the best.
I don't remember. All right, here's another encounter.
I can just see this bird
Can you see
seagull
this?
ice cream running down his beak.
Probably dropped it right next to me.
No, hell no, he ate it.
Oh.
He's not gonna give that up. He would fight to the death
For ice cream.
to protect that.
All right, here we go. In the summer of 1977, in the state of Illinois, a young boy and several other witnesses.
John Keel talks about this.
Yes, would report a strange and terrifying story. A 10-year-old boy by the name of Marlon Lowe. It was on the night of July 25th in the small community of Lawndale, would tell authorities that while playing with two other boys outside his home, a massive black bird, one of two that appeared, had chased him, grabbed him by his tank top, and pulled him 2 feet in the air, carrying him some distance before his mother managed to grab him and pull him back down to the ground.
This is exactly what he talked about.
Yes. A number of witnesses who also attest to seeing the birds describe them as gigantic black birds with hooked beaks, with bodies as big as a man's, and white ring coated around their half-foot-long necks.
And they're not crows, and they're not, whatever.
Okay. The birds were said to have a wingspan of 15 to 25 feet in length.
Yeah, that's not a crow.
Right. Marlowe has for years maintained his encounter did occur. However, many zoologists have regarded this tale as a fabricated encounter with a condor, the largest known flying creature that still exists today.
Well, but it's in, where was this?
Illinois.
Illinois, right? The Midwest.
Right.
Are condors native to that
I don't
state?
think so.
I don't believe so.
I guess stranger things have happened. Natives in South America have spoken for years about condors swooping down and stealing newborns. However, many in scientific community have a hard time grasping the notion of a condor attempting to snatch a 10-year-old boy, as no known condor is capable of lifting things with its feet, as its feet are like a turkey's and unable to grasp prey easily. It's also rare for condors or other large birds to attack humans. Lowe's is not an isolated story, for sightings and encounters with abnormally large birds have been documented for decades in North America, with many being reported in the late 1970s. Whatever happened was back then. These encounters have been labeled by cryptozoologists as Thunderbird encounters.
All right. Can we pause here because I'm thirsty?
Never
mind. No, let's keep going.
No, we're powering through.
This is what I do for you. This is a great sacrifice.
Next time, you get your drink.
Well, I mean...
No, we're not taking a break.
Okay.
No. Totem pole, the totem of the Thunderbird, which you see on a lot of Native American totem poles.
Mm-hmm.
The term comes from the name by the many Native Americans communities to describe either a single creature or species of bird that in some traditions have regarded as a nice spirit.
Yes. What's the word?
Benevolent.
Boom, nailed it.
But I was going to say nice.
Well, yes.
Right. A supernatural creature of great strength and power, like we said in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Though son of different.
What's this picture
here?
Okay,
so.
Oh, it's a reconstruction.
Yes, there's a reconstruction
So
of what.
They actually found one.
Oh, yes, it's a bird-like creature, yeah.
Oh,
no.
Some ice cream just dripping off his beak there.
That's probably the bird that attacked me.
Yeah, it's about that size.
Mm-hmm. Some people, often people try to post a picture of giant birds, but many zoologists believe that what you're seeing is condors. And that's what's responsible for all over the world. Who knows? So I don't know. That's the Thunderbird legend.
It's just, there's a lot of big birds out there.
There's a lot of big birds out there. I don't know. It kind of and then it brings you into like the Mothman legends, which we're not going to talk about. That's a separate thing.
It's a whole
different thing. It's a whole different winged creature.
That's like a 3-hour show.
But there's also there's also sightings like gargoyles and weird shit on buildings and like Chicago is having a ton of sightings.
What?
Mothman sightings
Gargoyles?
and gargoyles. People describing them that way.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, also people say it's because they're that city has a lot of unrest, and if you follow like the Mothman legend, that's who they're
blackness,
like just darkness, or maybe
darkness,
warning,
yes,
maybe warning, not maybe being attracted to, but maybe warning, clean up your act. I don't know, something like that. Who knows? So that's it for part 1. We'll call that part 1 of Native American lore and myths. So there's a lot more to discuss.
Oh, that's good because I'm only getting thirstier.
Okay. Let's pause this because then we have to do scary side stories. Did you hear somebody in our pantry?
Yeah, I better go check and make sure everything's okay.
No. You are doing side stories and then we're done.
I am going to do them.
Well, I'm not stopping the video.
All right.
Don't be a butt. All right. Do you want to do these two? Because these are the one you sent me. And then I'll do my two. Yeah, the answer is yes. Ready? Go.
Okay, guys, so...
this is Scary Sidebars.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Scary Sidebars, here we go. Okay, so, post a hurricane in Louisiana, there is a major issue down there. Hordes of mosquitoes are killing livestock. It says here that there are swarms of thousands of mosquitoes that have killed hundreds of cows along with deer, some horses and other animals. They have been draining the blood to such an extent that these animals are just, they're just dying. They're just falling over of exhaustion.
Could this explain Skinwalker Ranch or cattle mutilations? The jury's out. I
don't think so. It's mosquitoes, man.
Okay, my turn.
It's mosquitoes.
Is that your one?
Yeah.
Okay, mine. I have one.
Hurricane Laura.
No, it's my turn.
No, go.
Okay.
Well, what are you doing? This
I was going to do
you're going
you
back
do
and forth.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'll lose mine. All right, I found one on my Astonishing Legends subgroup that I love. And this person posted, it's a city street, and they have 2 little robots. They look like from Star Wars. It's so cute. But apparently, in Flagstaff, that's where she posted, trying to get away from the heat, but they had these little guys crossing street. These little robots are delivering food to students so they don't have to leave their dorm. Mm-hmm. Under Corona and whatever. Sure. But I thought,
God forbid they do that.
A, they're adorable, but B, that's frightening. They're just like little robots delivering food.
That is scary, man.
I know. It's the way of the world.
That's not good.
Okay, you go.
Okay, so I love this story, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
So, there is a couple that is on vacation in Yellowstone National Park, which is here in the U.S. And what's interesting, well, not everybody.
Also, Yellowstone has a lot of missing cases from the missing 411.
They do, but that's every week you bring that up.
I know.
Okay, so this is interesting to me because this couple They're
Dave
out
Politis, do you want to be on our show?
He would never.
No.
We don't get enough people yet to get
Dave Politis, I watch your YouTube channel every day.
He is awesome. But I don't think we're ready
Missing
for
project.
Listen, if you guys want him to come
I would
on,
do a serious episode.
reach out and email him, call him, DM him, whatever, PM, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh my God, he
DM,
doesn't
PM.
know.
It's personal message or
Direct
whatever.
messaging.
DM.
Nobody says PM.
Like AM, PM. Listen, whatever the case, man, get
the
a hold
kids
of
are doing?
get a hold of Dave Politis and tell him that we want to talk. This
I'm
dude,
a big fan.
he does have his videos are.
Also, he's serious.
He's very serious, just like us. But
I would be serious.
he's
I
very.
really want to talk to him.
This dude is pretty
Straight.
incredible.
Yeah,
He
he's
is.
a good guy.
All right, so
Okay, go.
anyway, 2 states to avoid. The first one to avoid is Louisiana because there was a hurricane.
Okay.
And then they got
Mosquitoes.
big hordes of mosquitoes that are killing cattle and wildlife. They're sucking the blood to such an extent that these poor animals are, they're just worn. They're not worn
Do your
out.
next one, your bison.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Bison.
Okay.
Yellowstone National Park. Couple is there and they're studying these bison. Taking pictures,
They're just
checking them out.
tourists.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they are tourists. They're told
Studying.
the park encourages people to keep a safe distance. These people
Okay.
are a few feet away.
Yeah.
They got a little too close, and a bison,
Yeah.
buffalo, what have you, starts to kind of make its way toward the couple, the man and woman. The man and woman flee. They start to walk away, and then they start to run away. The woman trips and falls. The guy keeps running,
Yes.
and luckily, the buffalo bison, just kind of ran up to her, kind of pawed around a little bit, and just left her alone, walked away. But the best part is there's video of this, and it is really,
the
really
best
scary.
part is her companion runs away and then yells from a distance, "Play dead."
Yeah.
Now, the
I
scariest
didn't
part of
mention
the
that
story is the ride home in the car between the couple who says, "I was laying there,
Well, what?
food for
Listen,
bison."
Not food. They
trampled her.
No, the danger would have been that she would have
And
got.
you yelled,
Play
"Play
She would
dead,"
have got stoned.
from afar.
It's a bear. Okay. But can you imagine
No.
all those little hooves?
Can you imagine? No, can you imagine the ride home? How
It'd be-
icy that would
that'd
be?
really. They probably broke up after that.
Probably did.
But no, the video I couldn't. It was awesome. So I just love the animal stories, like the
Big snakes.
the mosquitoes,
Yeah.
like going crazy and killing stuff, and then like buffaloes or
Mm-hmm.
in Yellowstone, and people are getting so close. That's the thing I can't understand. People get like
They're
if
like
you're
wooed by
in-
nature.
But god damn it, these are wild animals.
Well,
Like you're not
yes.
supposed to get that close to them, and these people walked up and were kind of checking them out. Like they're not pets.
Right.
It's Yellowstone, yes, but they're still wild.
Right.
And then that lady, she could
could've
have
gotten
easily
really
died.
ill, yes.
She could have easily died. The buffalo ran up and sniffed her and kind of like
Right.
Well,
Well, now that everybody's been sufficiently lectured by Jason about how to encounter animals in the wild, there you go.
yes.
There you go. Well, I'm going to end it on a romantic note. So I am going to read you something, and this is from Tom Watkins, who, whatever,
It's fine.
who posted in my Astonishing Legends group, who has given me no permission to read this aloud. However, you posted it in a public forum, so
Right. so
Tom.
it's on.
All right. So he writes, "Do you believe in fate? Here's my story. About 11 years ago, I was having a hard time moving on from a previous relationship. For the first time in my life, I visited a psychic. She told me that she could tell me only the good things or that she could tell me everything, meaning that she wouldn't hold back the negative. And I said, I want to know everything. She told me not to tell others the details of what she'd revealed to me. I maintained that agreement, even down to telling me the day I would die. I won't share much of what we talked about, but I'll share this one thing. She said that I would end up with a girl with the initials KA. This really gave me a surprise and hope at the time because my recent ex-girlfriend's first and middle initials were KA, so I thought it's going to all work out. Well, it didn't. So I thought the psychic was just a fraud. She didn't even charge me when I left, nor would she allow me to purchase items via the phone after I left. What kind of business owner doesn't charge after all?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, maybe something in the universe was aligning that night. Maybe the veil was thin, and even if she was a con artist, perhaps on that night she saw something in me that scared her or told her, this guy is hurting, don't charge him. Why? Well, I didn't connect this event until a few years ago. I married my wife, and I look back on that night, which at that point was 8 years prior and many years before I met my wife, a different girl altogether. My wife's maiden name was first initial K and last initial A. The psychic wasn't wrong. I ended up marrying a girl with the initials KA. However, KA weren't my ex's first and middle name, rather my wife's first and last initials. Our baby girl is in the profile picture with me. Since then, I found a note that I wrote that night over 11 years ago after talking with the psychic, and everything up to this point in time has come true. So, do you believe in fate? Question mark. P.S. Everything you just read is 100% true.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So, I like that. It's powerful, and, I don't know. I think some people can see through the veil. I thought it was an interesting read. It's not very scary, but maybe because he knows how he's going to die.
Yeah.
He won't reveal that. I don't want to know that.
That's what I was thinking about the whole time. Like, I was just thinking about that.
Listen, if I know that next week I have to go to a workout class, I will perseverate on this and be anxious and terrible.
What's that have to do with?
Well, if you told me a day I was going to get sick or a day I would die, you would ruin my life, because I would perseverate and never move forward. I'm just saying. So okay. I know that is a bad thing for me. I don't want to know my fate when it comes to that. But I think that was an interesting story. So maybe not scary, really but interesting. That's what you're going to get. So what else? That's all we have to say.
All right. So a couple things.
What?
Stay away from very cold places, such as Canada and Minnesota.
Don't
stay in the Sun Belt if you can.
Okay. Except for the Thunderbirds.
Except for Louisiana, because there's big mosquitoes in Louisiana.
There's no place safe. There's no place safe.
That's not true.
There's no place safe. There's always something somewhere.
Please avoid Yellowstone. Please avoid the...
you go
not the park. Please avoid...
Bison.
Getting too close to the bison.
Yes. Jason's very concerned about your safety with wildlife. So that's all we have for you this week. Remember, you can follow us at The Couple That Scares Together on Instagram or our website, www.thecouplethatscaretogether.com. You can see us on YouTube.
I was going to say that the reason that I'm concerned is because I want everybody back. I want people back to listen and watch this next week.
Okay, yeah. And next week we'll be back with a whole new episode. It'll be episode 16.
Man, that's going to be 4 months. That's going to be 4 months. We're
ramping up to the fall, which I'm so excited about.
Big plans.
Because this is our big plans. We're September, October. We're really coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming at you strong. Have a great week, guys. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing this with us. Hope you have a great date night at home, maybe with somebody that you love.
Well, yes.
Hope your kids
bring her on.
Don't interrupt. You already have a date night. Hope your kids don't interrupt you, and that you can enjoy a little bit of time as a couple.
Oh, you know what? One last thing.
That was the best end, and he ruined it.
No, I forgot one scary sidebar.
What?
The Eagles lost to the pathetic Oh, it's not the Redskins anymore. It's the Washington football team.
Okay. Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, all of his football's not back.
That's very scary.
That's the scariest of all.
It is. Well, Penn State hopefully back soon.
Oh, God. Maybe.
All right, guys.
All right. Have a great week, guys. See ya.